What about a rival code first up? A question without notice. All of us have just been to Swans presser. Broke overnight. Andrew Wilkie used parliamentary privilege to claim that doctors were forging drug tests to either test positive players, and if so, if they did test positive, then get them to feign injury and rule them out of the game. Could you even contemplate that happening in the NRL?
No, I don't know the context of it. So yeah, I can't really comment on all those details about what happens, but just what you explained there, I haven't heard of that and have never experienced anything like that. So,
fairly extensive medical update came out on Monday from the Roosters. We can start with Lindsay Collins.
Yep.
That's a big. His form last year was exceptional. How big a loss, and just how bad is the injury?
It's quite mild. But I had to take him off there. It was around the try, I think maybe the second last try or third last. He just had a bit of a tweak there. So, there's some positive signs already, but obviously not ready to play.
Hamstring injuries
Yep.
can be notoriously tricky. Any chance next week? Or
There's a chance, yeah. Yeah, there's a chance of that. He's back running already, so that's a positive sign. But yeah, 6-day turnaround's been a bit tight.
What about Sandon? Exceptional game that we hear he's suffered some pretty serious elbow damage.
Yeah, it was. It's a credit to Sandon. There was. He did it in the first half. You could see him pull out of the tackle and sort of grabbing his elbow there. Sort of got it strapped at half time and then played on, and we needed him to play on and do what he did. And then he's going to be out for sort of 4 to 6 weeks with that injury, which. It's blown up a lot, but it's a credit to him to sort of brush it aside and get the job done. But it means a stint on the sidelines now.
What about Billy? Just luckless man.
Yeah, I didn't see just went up for a high ball, came down, rolled the ankle, and then was in for surgery Monday night just to take out that piece of bone that got chipped off. So yeah, it's disappointing and means a couple of months. So it's sort of we've been in a good spot there, relatively good spot injury-wise, but it's just a couple of annoying ones there.
Trent, some better news. Sam Walker cleared to play. Can you
Yeah.
talk to us about that process? Was that instigated by you guys or the NRL? How did that sort of come about that he was cleared?
It was instigated by our doctors almost immediately because of what they saw on the field, and then when they came off, and then when he was ruled out in game, it was questioned, and then they went through the right processes around. It was neck, and there wasn't any, even on-field symptoms there for us that should have been. He usually wouldn't have come off the field, but even if he did, he would have gone back on. So to go to a Category 1 we felt was too far, and obviously the NRL saw that, which was a positive process because, it could have been costly within the game as well. I think that got rectified quite quickly.
You talk about it could have been costly. It wasn't this time around. Is there any room for improvement the way we go about this? Again,
it's a good process because they are independent. They don't, allow for. I think it's pretty clear that orange shirts can't see anything, and they have got a bias towards their team. So it's good having an independent doctor there to rule on that. But it's just, it's very rare. But when they get it. When they overcorrect a little bit like they did, I think there's a couple of occasions there where it's been reversed, maybe 3 or 4 occasions where they've downgraded it from a Category 1 post-game. That was a positive because Sam wasn't concussed or wasn't even close. He had a sore neck but not a sore head.
How important has his short kicking game become? And has it, since he was dropped, has it developed almost Langer-like?
Yeah. It's always.
It does remind an old bloke like me of Alan Langer.
Yeah, it's got nothing to do with what happened last year. He's had that since he was a kid. He's been playing that way for a long period of time. He does that every day at training. He's always looking for space, and it doesn't matter where it is. He'll go and find that. And so he's been doing that ever since he arrived here, which ended up being a lot of. He ended up having a lot of try assists. I think it was in 2022. He had a good combination there with Nat Butcher as well, that reaped rewards. And he's been short kicking for tries his whole life, I think. So, it is rare the way that he moves and kicks, and second kicks often have a real benefit for him as well.
Have you
Brad
noticed?
Schneider, do you know much about him?
Yeah, I've watched Brad at Canberra. Obviously, watched a bit of the Super League there when he went to Hull as well, over there at Hull KR. So, been watching him for a few years and expect him to have his personal traits but fit into their system.
How do they change it all as a side without Nathan, given they have to adapt to Brad and Jerome? And are you preparing for anything different from what you would have if Nathan was playing?
Their system will be the same. So when players, Cogger in the past, Sean O'Sullivan in the past have come in, they run the same system. They still rely on their key players. So I don't expect anything different there. Obviously Nathan's, arguably the best player in the game, even if arguably may not be the word. But system's still a system. Jersey's still a jersey. We've had players in and out of teams every single week, and we're looking forward to the contest.
Is he still a player that you can target, considering he's new to the club as well this year?
Oh, look, I think people think that you can just target one player in the opposition, and that's the way that it used to be. You used to set a target. You have to be aware of multiple things in the game, and pressuring new players is one of them. So that's normal, but then you can't take your eye off the ball on other areas of the game that you need to focus on as well. So that's a part of the game, that's not the whole game.
What have you got a half coming back for you this week, Luke Keary?
Yep.
First of all, he's officially fine, is he?
Yep.
His history?
Yeah, really good.
Yeah. And just how important is he to have there next to Sam?
Yeah, that's been the majority of our training's been Sam and Luke together. As I said, I think last week Sandon's done a lot, which I think you could have seen in last week's game. The combination and the intuition between the guys was high as well. But it's nice to get your starting pair back together.
Is there any added motivation to come up against Penrith, given last year they had two pretty big wins? And the second one as well, I think Nathan played in that one, so is there any extra motivation when you come up against a team like that?
There's always, there's motivation about what we're trying to do this year. Our focus has been very clear about what we want to get out of ourselves. We haven't performed as what we want against this team. They're coming to our home and we want to perform better. So that motivation's really clear for us.
As Marty just mentioned there, you did get a chance to play without Cleary. It's kind of a rare thing. Is there any insight you can take from having come up against this team without their general in recent times?
Look, there's, you obviously take the players that come in, and we're also, we're a slightly different team and we need to keep proving that.
Egan Butcher named on the bench. Trent, you said last week that you got about 23, 24 blokes.
Yeah.
We're playing every week. Can we expect a bit of rotation on the bench sort of this early in the season?
Well, obviously Lindsay being out, he's a first grader, and so that, I did talk about that 23, 24 players, and we've been able to stick in that group so far, and we want to continue to do that for most of the season. So, Egan's very experienced, needs to come in and do the job that the intensity that he brings. We're looking forward to. So that's going to continue as the season rolls on.
Can I just ask about Taylor May and how close
Yep.
the club was to actually signing? He mentioned yesterday that he had spoken to you and the club about it, I think as late as last week.
Yep.
Just how close was that?
I don't think we got close in the end. I don't think we got an offer out there, but respect Tiny as a player and the way that he goes about the game. We've obviously had a really good experience here with Terrell and part of the family, and we know the family. So those are all quite positive, but it didn't get to the point where we were going to sign him.
Max Jorgensen, is there a deadline with Max or anything like that, or is the lure of a Rugby World Cup and a Lions tour going to keep him in the 15-man game?
That I don't know, but as I said, we haven't. Again, we have those discussions, but we haven't. That's more through our experience a couple of years ago, knowing the family, but also him training with us. But there hasn't even been an offer or anything put forward. I think that was reported, but that was far from the truth. There's been no offer, or there's been discussions that if he wants to come back, then we're here to have a chat, but that hasn't even progressed past that.
As his old man, made it obvious which game he'd prefer him to play?
No, Pete obviously played both and played both at a high level. So, I I think Max is his own man as well. So, as I said, I think they must be progressing with their negotiations because we haven't stepped in and gone any further with that at the moment.